So we're moving on to page 109 to finish doing that page. This is part 2 for Ventures Salvation. The date is 5/27, and we're going to be in our workbook first. Page 109. Okay. It says match the bold words and match the bold words with the correct meaning. 1. They were gathering apples in the backyard. A crowd was gathering in the street. Is A meeting or collecting? Meeting. A crowd was gathering in the street. Meeting. They were gathering apples. Collecting. Okay. Number 2. Daniel needs a scholarship to support his education. So here he's going to need money, right? Thank you for your support after the hurricane. Here it is emotional or whatever, or physical kind of support that someone gave to someone. So Daniel needs a scholarship to pay for his college education. That would be A. Thank you for your help after the hurricane. That would be B. Number 3. A thief grabbed my wallet on the bus. I grabbed as many photographs as I could during the fire. So the meaning of a thief grabbed my wallet, the meaning for that grabbed is A, stole. B, I grabbed as many photographs means I took them quickly. So that would be B. Number 4, they gave us a generous amount of money. B, our neighbors were very generous to us after the earthquake. So A, they gave us a large amount of money. So here, generous means large. B, our neighbors were very generous to us after the earthquake. Or, our neighbors were very helpful to us after the earthquake. So this generous means helpful. Number 5, we lost everything in the earthquake. B, we lost the game. So which one means we didn't win? That's right, B, we didn't win the game, we lost the game. So A has to be, we don't have it anymore. We lost everything in the earthquake. Okay, page 110. Writing. Read, then answer the questions. Everyone, one evening last week, I was driving home from work. I was driving slowly through my neighborhood when my cell phone rang. I pulled over to the curb and answered it. It was my wife. She asked me to pick up some food for dinner from the supermarket. On the way home, I was turning off my cell phone and pulling back out when a cat ran across the street. I immediately turned the car to the right and I hit a fire hydrant. Water went everywhere. Luckily, I was okay. I didn't hit the cat, but the car was damaged. Firefighters came to fix the hydrant. The police arrived and I had to fill out an accident report. While I was talking to the police, my wife called again. She wanted to know what happened to me. I said, well, I think I'll be a little late tonight. Okay, so that's kind of a quirky, funny little story. Beginning of the paragraph. One evening last week, comma. I was driving home from work. Was driving. Past continuous. Driving is a continuous action. You would not say one evening last week, I drove home from work. Because he's going to be telling about what happened. So I was driving home from work. Next, I was driving slowly. Was driving, continuous action in the past. I was driving slowly through my neighborhood when my cell phone rang. Quick, simple past. Phone rang. I pulled over to the curb and answered it. Pulled over, answered it. It was my wife. She asked me, so this is kind of a phrasal. She asked me, it's kind of linking. Simple past, she asked. Pick up, infinitive. Asked me to pick up some food for dinner from the supermarket on the way home. I was turning off my cell phone. This was the action that he was doing. I was turning it off and pulling back out, happening continuously, pulling back out when a cat ran across the street. Cat ran across the street. Boom, it was over. I immediately turned the car to the right, turned the car, and hit a fire hydrant. Simple past. Water went everywhere. Simple past. Luckily, I was okay. I didn't hit the cat. The car was damaged. Firefighters came to fix. Notice, past tense, infinitive, came to fix. The police arrived, past tense. I had to fill out, had to. While I was talking, while I was doing this continuous action, ing in the helper, talking to the police, my wife called. Simple past. She wanted to know what happened. She wanted to know. I said, well, I think I will be a little late tonight. Future, I will be. Okay, so number 1, what was the story about? Answer, the story is about a car accident. Number 2, when did the accident happen? Full sentence, it happened one evening last week, or it happened last week. Number 3, where did the accident happen? It happened in his neighborhood, right? It happened in his neighborhood. Number 4, what was the writer doing when the story started? Answer, he was driving home from work. Was driving. Driving is a continual action. He was driving home from work. Number 5, why did the accident happen? Full sentence, a cat ran out in front of his car. Cat ran out in front of his car. And you could also say he pulled over, right? So he turned the car to the right. Another word for that, actually, that I wrote down was this. Swerved. What is it? Swerved. So swerve means to immediately turn in a different direction than what you're doing. So if you're riding down the highway and a car is here and it comes and pulls out in front of you or pulls out here and almost hits you but doesn't hit you, we call that swerving. What is it? Swerving. So the car swerved. How did the story end? He said, well, I think I'll be a little late tonight. So he was um, trying to add a little humor into this situation. Okay. So I'm going to do page 111 also while we're here. It says, look at the pictures, circle the correct answer. We are still in our workbook. So look carefully at the picture. What do you see in the picture? A man sitting on a train. What is he doing? Reading a book. What's next to him? A box. What's above him? The time. Okay. Number one. Everyone, let's keep going. So in picture number 2, what do you see? He's carrying his book. What else? He's waving to a friend. What do you see to the right? The box. What do you see above? The time. Last picture. What do you see? The man returning to the train. What is it? The man returning to the train. What else do you see? The box. What else? The door is slightly opened. The door is a little opened. Okay, let's see what we have here. Number 1, everyone, when did the story start? A, at 5:55 a.m., B, 5:55 p.m. 5:55 p.m. Number 2, where did the story happen? A, on a train, B, on a plane. Complete sentence? The story happened on a train. Number 3, remember, you're supposed to be reading out loud. Number 3, what was Joe doing when the story started? A, reading, B, talking. That's right, Joe was reading when the story started. Number 4, what was next to Joe? A, a friend, B, a box. That's right, a box was next to Joe. Number 5, what happened while he was getting off the train? He found his box, he saw a friend. Everybody? What happened while he was getting off the train? While he was getting off the train, he saw a friend. 6. What happened when the train doors closed? He remembered his box, he forgot his book. Complete sentence. When the train doors closed, he remembered his box. Notice, when the train doors closed, he remembered his box. Number 7, how did the story end? The doors opened and he took his box. The doors closed and he lost his box. It looks like the doors closed and he lost his box, but it's possible that he remembered his box, the doors opened, and he took his box. So actually either one of them, it depends upon how you interpret the picture, right? Okay. We are going to now go back to our book, page 118. What was this word? Swerve. What is it? Swerve. Okay, page 118. We're not going to do the first part because we're not with a partner. So the story is Fire in Our Backyard. Everyone, one evening last summer, my husband and I were preparing dinner together. My husband was cooking outside, and I was setting the table inside. Suddenly, my husband ran into the kitchen and shouted, "There's a fire in our backyard." I ran outside and saw fire in the bushes next to our fence. I was really scared because my 70-year-old parents live next door. Luckily, my husband acted quickly. He called the fire department and then started putting water on the fire. The firefighters arrived quickly, and they easily put out the fire. They said a coal from the barbecue started it. My parents were very surprised when they saw the firefighters. They were watching the news in the living room, and they never knew there was a problem. My father said, "Let's go back and watch the news. Maybe we're on TV." So I would like to point out a few things in the structure of this story in the sentences to remind you that you can also do this when you're writing sentences. Let's go back to number 1. Everyone, one evening last summer, comma, my husband and I were preparing dinner together. So they have a little introductory phrase telling you the time, giving you a little more detail to make the story more interesting and to be able to picture it better in your mind, and they used a comma. They also used my husband and I. Please remember, when you're talking about yourself and another person, you put the other person first and then yourself, and you use I. It is not me. It is I, my husband and I. Were preparing, past continuous, ing and the helper is in the past. Were preparing. My husband was cooking, ing and the helper. It was a continuous activity, but we're talking about the past. And I was setting the table. Setting a table is a continuous activity, happened in the past, was with ing. Suddenly, little introductory phrase to give you a better picture of what's happening, comma after it. Husband ran, past tense, simple past, and shouted, simple past. Quotation marks around the words that he used, the beginning and the end. Next, I ran outside, simple past, ran and saw. I was scared. Parents, why? Parents live next door. Husband acted quickly. Quickly, ly, adverb, describes acted. He called and started. Here it's a gerund, putting out. Past tense, called, started. Firefighters arrived. Past tense, quickly. Adverb, describing the arriving. They easily put out the fire. Easily. Adverb, describing put out. They said, simple past. Parents were, simple past. When they saw, simple past. They were watching, not simple past. It is past continuous. Watching is a continual activity. Were watching. And they never knew there was a problem. My father said, comma, let's go back and watch the news, period. Maybe we're on TV. Those were the words that he said are put in quotation marks. If you're talking about words someone said or you said, you will put those in quotation marks at the beginning and at the end.